Hello, I'm Phil Wainewright, co-founder of Diginomica, your trusted resource on how tech is changing the enterprise. And I'm here with Matthias Goehler, CTO in EMEA of Zendesk. Hello, Matthias.
Hi, hello. Nice to be here. Thanks.
Well, it's great to be with you. And the topic today is the whole issue of customer experience, or CX, and how that is evolving. And we are seeing a huge amount of change at the moment in terms of what the technology enables, and in terms of how businesses are actually using that to either enrich the customer experience or enrich the product experience in some cases, and obviously in some cases getting that wrong. And so we need to look at what are the right paths here to get the best out of the technology and make sure that the consumer ends up with a better outcome at the end of the day. And I know that Zendesk has been doing some research recently, or regularly does research, and has published a CX trends report recently, hasn't it, Matthias? So what sort of things have come up in that research?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the question. In fact, we are doing this research once a year. We call it CX Trends Report. And we ask about 5,000 leaders in companies around CX, but also around the same amount of consumers, how they experience, the CX that companies are giving to them. And on top of this, we have about 100,000 benchmarking data, companies that agree to take data anonymized and use it as benchmarking data, which all goes into the report. So this year, we really thought about 5 different trends. The first one is all around more conversational experiences. So if I am a consumer and I reach out to a company, then I want to be treated like a human, right? I want to have a conversation with the company. I don't want to feel like a ticket that is getting solved and then forget about. And these conversations obviously should build upon each other, because I had interactions in the past already, and that obviously determines potentially what the topic is that we are talking about today. Customers actually expect personalization. They expect the companies to personalize every single interaction they have with them. And they're also okay, that's interesting, specifically in all the current discussions that I'm sure we'll touch about it later as well. They actually are absolutely okay to use AI and have AI help to make the experience more seamless, more convenient, faster, so that I could also help myself at any given moment in time whenever I wanted. And all of this we called immersive CX. Immersive, not in the way that you now need to put your 3D glasses on and you go straight into the metaverse, but immersive more in the sense of an inclusive and natural conversation and experience that also touches every single channel and every single touch point in a consistent manner.
And as we move into AI, which, as you said, is a topic we need to get into in this conversation, that having that joined up data is also important, because the AI works best if it's got access to all of the data, doesn't it?
When we think about AI, we really think about 3 different aspects. The first one is obviously the interaction to the customer. I want to give you an example. Telecommunication companies from the Nordics, a good customer of ours, they started a journey where they said, well, what is the 10, 15 use cases, the 10, 15 reasons that customers always reach out to us that make up to 50, 60% of the volume of incoming requests? And these are things like, I want to cancel my account, I want to move to a different rate plan, etc. Then they were doing this together with the agent, saying, well, how would you respond today? Found out there's 2 to 3 different ways, and say, well, great. Now we have the first opportunity. We can standardize on one, and then we can basically get a little bit more effective and efficient in the way we handle these requests. Second, then, can we automate it? So how many steps do we need to go through? Which backend systems might be involved? How can we integrate them, make sure data flows in and out, etc., and automate a process? And then put a chatbot in front of it to take the customer through the process. This did two things. It led to an increase in customer satisfaction, because for this, let's say, relatively simple use cases, I can do it whenever I want. I don't need to wait. I get immediate response. And at the end, for example, I want to cancel my account. I get the cancellation confirmation in my inbox. So that's what I want. Right? This is kind of instant customer service, immediate response, solves my problem. It also, on the other hand, led to an increase in the agent satisfaction, because suddenly they had more time to deal with complicated cases, with difficult customer situations, and got rid of all these repetitive, manual topics, which actually were easy to solve, but because of the volume, took quite some time for them. So it had this to me is a good example of how to do it right. Take your agents with you, do it together with them, automate it, put a good chatbot in front of it, and then you can, increase customer and employee satisfaction at the same time. So that's one use case. And then the second use case is you still have these cases where you want, or the customer wants, to talk to the agent. Now, in this case, we are helping to make the life of the agent easier, to make it more productive. So we automatically understand the intent. We can route it to the right agent immediately without the need of handover. We can pre-populate the right information, even from back-end systems, to the screen of the agent so that the agent doesn't need to search for it. We can start to pull out of the knowledge base, like what are the potential right answers that you can give a confidence level to it. We understand sentiment. So if it's an angry customer, we might want to escalate it and, have agents that are specially trained to deal with complex situations. So all of these things, just a few examples, all of these things with the idea to make the life of the agent easier and make the agent more productive in dealing with the customer and answering the customer requests. And then last but not least, the third one is more around the, let's say, system administrators, who, for example, sets up the knowledge base. And then we can now, to stay with that example, we can analyze all the, the existing knowledge base versus what the agents actually replied, and then identify white spaces, identify gaps, even suggest a new article or a new, predefined answer based on the history for the admin to review, to polish, and then to make available to all the agents. There are other use cases, but the third is really around system administrators and how to make their life easier to set up and optimize this CX system.
I think your CX Trends survey did find that people are quite accepting of AI, that they don't mind being dealt with by AI when it's actually helping them get to a result faster, do they?
Yeah, exactly. About 66% of all the consumers that we interviewed are expecting, not even are okay, they're expecting companies to use AI to make their experience better. And these are specifically these simple use cases. Yeah? You mentioned gaming before as an industry. We quite have a number of customers from the gaming industry, and believe it or not, one of their, the main reasons for customers reaching out to a gaming company is, I forgot my password. Yeah? So can you reset the password? There is, in my mind, no need at all to deal with a human for such a simple request. Now you can do it via self-service. You could do it through a chatbot interaction. And that's convenient. I can do it whenever I want. I can do it over the weekend or, in the evening. It's fast. It solves my problem at once. So for those cases, I think it is good to have not only the chatbot, but also the automated process in the backend that the chatbot guides you through and and that basically at the end solves the problem. And then for the more complicated cases, as I said, then you probably want to deal with a human or if you're, let's say, for example, you're angry, you probably don't want to talk to a chatbot. You want to talk to a person that can show empathy to you and, can handle that situation better. And I think it's the combination of the two that will make you successful.
So what about concerns about privacy and so on as we're using more and more automation? There's a big emphasis these days in the world at large amongst consumers about what are they doing with my data? So how do we get the balance right there?
Very good point. Very, very good point. I mean, obviously starts with getting consent. Which data can I capture? Which data can I store? I think more and more we will see consumers asking, what are you using the data for? What is the benefit that I get? I think we are more and more used and also okay for some data to be stored and for some data to be used, but we want to understand what happens with it and what's quite frankly the benefit for me. And I think that's a big potential in the future for companies. Today, I need to consent 100 times, but it's like black or white, do it or don't do it. If you don't do it, some services, won't be accessible for you. And I don't think that's acceptable in the future. In the future, it's more like, I'm okay if I get something in return. Tell me what that is. What is the benefit for me? Is it just a personalized marketing email, or is there more in it for me? And you could start to become a bit more creative in your industry, what that could be that you can offer to customers. And then the second part, obviously, is to make sure that data are stored appropriately, that data are being deleted appropriately, are being deducted appropriately, that either automatically after a certain period of time, or when a customer reaches out and wants that the record is being deleted, that you act on this immediately and you confirm it back to the customer. So all of these things are obviously very important. And here we also see, potential big advancements of AI, where we are starting to see scenarios like AI being able to identify personal information like my email address, my phone number, my credit card number, even in free text, and not even if it's in a field which is kind of easy to mask or easy to hide, but if it's in free text or within attachments, whatever, it's a bit more difficult. And here we also see, advancements in AI being able to identify it, being able to mask it automatically so that it doesn't even get stored also in free text. And then last but not least, we are also seeing encryption now coming more and more up, which then is another opportunity for companies to make sure that data are being secure, because when they're encrypted and you're the only one that holds the key, you can make sure that nobody else gets access to these data. So there's a number of different options on how to deal with it, but it is a very important topic, specifically here for us in Europe.
Yeah. I mean that's absolutely really important. But as you say, there's we also want the benefits of what technology could bring to us, and so we need to find the trade-offs that actually find the right balance, don't we? I'd like to end up really just by getting our crystal balls out and have a little look into the future. There's an enormous amount of hype at the moment around generative AI, ChatGPT, and all the other apparently amazing results that it produces. But be careful, because sometimes it makes things up. But what are the most interesting things that you see kind of coming in the future in the CX space?
Yeah, I was already concerned. Can we have a podcast these days without talking about ChatGPT and generative AI? So glad that you bring the topic up. Now, joking aside, obviously large language models, we saw tremendous progress and tremendous benefits in use cases with large language models. We in fact have our own, which we included into Zendesk. It's one specifically trained for CX, and we use it to identify the intent of incoming requests, so that we can do all of these scenarios that I mentioned before, like route it directly to the right agent, label it directly, get the right information out, etc. But then on the other hand, we're also working with OpenAI and with others We have announced a partnership with OpenAI and have a few first scenarios where we use their technology for things like summarization. So imagine you're a new agent, you come to a conversation with a customer, which is already, pages long. You don't need to read through all of it. You can get a very accurate summary, read the summary so you understand the status, you understand where your colleague left and where you need to pick it up. You can do things like, change the tonality of an answer or give a few bullets and have the OpenAI technology create the answer for you that you just review and then correct it and send it back. So there are all first good use cases. I'm sure there will be more. We are working, as I said, closely with OpenAI, but with others as well. So I'm sure there will be more. For us, despite these use cases, another very interesting topic is taking these models to create synthetic data to train our algorithms and identify gaps in our own LLM and close those industry by industry much faster as without it. So we are also thinking about, using these technologies to advance our own approach and our own system at a faster space. So that's definitely a topic that we will see more and more in the future.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming next in customer experience, enabled by all of these new technologies.
Me too. Absolutely.
Well,
it will be exciting, I'm sure.
It absolutely will be. So thanks for joining me, Matthias, for this conversation today. It's been fascinating, and it certainly gives us an insight into developments today in CX, but also how things are evolving and opening out into the future.